In the history of aviation, catastrophe usually sounds like chaos. It sounds like alarms, screaming engines, and panicked voices fighting for survival. But on a warm Friday evening in August 2018, catastrophe sounded different. It sounded like a conversation between friends. It sounded like a confession. For 73 minutes, the most heavily guarded airspace in America was dismantled not by a terrorist organization or a master criminal, but by a baggage handler named Richard. He stole a 76-seat airliner. He performed maneuvers that seasoned test pilots wouldn't dare attempt. And then, he said goodbye. To understand the flight, you have to understand the ground. Seattle-Tacoma International Airport is a city within a city. An army of workers ensures that movement happens. They are the gears in the machine, essential but largely invisible. Richard Russell, known to his friends as Bebo, was one of them. He was 29 years old. He liked to bake. He hoped to manage a bakery one day. He made $12 an hour moving heavy bags in the rain and the cold. By all accounts, he was a kind man. But the problem with seeming fine is that it is a performance, and performances can be exhausting. On August 10th, Richard was the only tug operator on duty in his section. The sun was beginning to set over the Puget Sound, casting long shadows across the concrete. At 7:32 p.m., Richard walked up to a Horizon Air Q400. He didn't have a pilot's license. He didn't have a key. He just had a knowledge of video games and a heavy heart. What happened next exposed a terrifying blind spot in modern security. Richard used a pushback tractor to rotate the massive plane 180 degrees. He climbed the stairs, closed the door, and sat in the captain's seat. He flipped the switches he had memorized from flight simulation software. The propellers began to spin. Air traffic control noticed the movement. They were confused. No flight was scheduled. They hailed the plane expecting a mistake. Richard didn't answer. He taxied directly to runway 16C. He didn't wait for clearance. He pushed the throttles forward, and the invisible man became the most visible object in the sky. Within minutes, NORAD scrambled two F-15 Eagle fighter jets. These are weapons of war, capable of flying at Mach 2.5. They were authorized to shoot Richard down if he turned toward the city skyline. But Richard wasn't looking for destruction. He was looking for a view. For the next hour, a surreal drama played out over the radio frequency. On one end, Captain Bill, an air traffic controller trying desperately, gently to guide Richard to a safe landing. On the other end, Richard, who was just marveling at the world. "Man, have you been to the Olympics? These guys are gorgeous, holy smokes." Listen to his voice. There is no anger. There is a strange, detached euphoria. He jokes about the air conditioning. At one point, he asks about a killer whale. "Hey, you think if I land this successfully, Alaska will give me a job as a pilot?" He laughed. In the face of death, with fighter jets on his wingtip, he laughed. But beneath the jokes, the cracks were showing. The adrenaline was fading, leaving only the reality of what he had done. He knew there was no going back to the tarmac, no going back to the $12 an hour, no going back to the bakery. Then Richard did the impossible. Maybe he wanted to feel the G-force. Maybe he wanted to prove he could. Over the waters of the Puget Sound, he pulled the nose up. He performed a barrel roll. Aerodynamically, a Q400 shouldn't do that, not with an amateur at the controls. He dove toward the water, pulling up inches from the surface. The F-15 pilots, watching from above, were stunned. They later admitted they thought it was over right then. That sentence creates a silence that is hard to fill. I was kind of hoping that was going to be it. It wasn't a stunt. It was a flirtation with the end. The sun dipped below the horizon. The fuel gauges screamed empty. One engine flamed out. Richard's voice grew softer. He didn't want to hurt anyone. He steered away from the houses, away from the highways. He aimed for Ketron Island, a patch of dense forest. He didn't scream. He didn't panic. He just disconnected. At 8:47 p.m., the radar blip vanished. There was no conspiracy, no manifesto. The FBI scoured his life and found only a man who was sad and who hid it well. He was wrong about one thing, though. He said he was just a broken guy. But for 1 hour, high above the clouds, untethered from the earth and its expectations, he was free. Subscribe to Ombra, because the most important stories are the ones we're afraid to tell.